Hi guys, this is 4.4 homework number 6. It's a two-part question. Let's take a look. It says geometry. The width of the rectangle is 75% of its length. And letter A says, what is the area of the rectangle? So this question tends to trick people because they think that you're trying to just find the width, but actually we're going to find the width and then use that width to then find the area that you can see right here. So when it says the width of the rectangle is 75% of its length, well, we can see here that the length is 24 inches and the width is 75% of that 24, right? So here's what I would do. I'm going to use the is over of that Mr. Kalis talked about in those videos. And I see here that it actually already gives me the percentage, right? So I'm going to kind of block this off. I'm going to work over here on the right side. And the percentage is 75%. And we know that percent means per 100. So it says the width of the rectangle is 75% of its length. Okay, so we know the 75%. We have that down. But we need to figure out what the width is. So it's the width is 75% of its length. So is, right, is, we don't know. We don't know what the is if. We do know what the of is. The of is 24. So if you take a look at this, something over 24, right, equals 75%. We need to figure out what that is. I would say the best way to go about this would be to use cross multiplication and figuring out what x is. So to do that, what we would do is we'd say, okay, 100 times x, also you can just write 100x, equals, and then we have over here, we have 24 times 75. The reason this would probably be the best method is because 24 doesn't go into 100 evenly. So we can't use that method where we just multiply across. So I would say this would be the fastest way to get there. Now, I'm going to do 24 times 75. And remember, you can use your calculator for this. And I got 1,800. And that equals 100x. And then we're left with x by itself. Now to get rid of x, we need to undo multiplication. How do we undo multiplication? We use division. So I'm going to divide by 100, and the reason I'm dividing by 100 is because we are multiplying that x by 100. So now I'm going to divide it by 100. If that was a 4x, we would divide by 4. If it was a 1 million x, we would divide by 1 million. And you cannot do something to one side that you're not doing to the other. So I'm going to also divide this side by 100. And you can see that if I multiply and then divide by 100, that's actually going to cross out. I'm just left with x equals 1,800 over 100. Well, they both have two zeros. You can actually just cross those out. 18 over 1 is 18, and x equals 18. So what that means is 18 is the width and 24 is the length. And if you want to double check that, if you do 18 divided by 24 on your calculator, you actually get 75 hundredths, which would be written as a fraction as 75 over 100. So I'm good to go. I double checked that. Now, when it says what's the area of the triangle, we know that the area is actually length times width. So a lot of people want to just go ahead and put 18 down there, but we know that it says area and our answer is in inches squared. So when I do 24 times 18, that would equal 432. So my handwriting is going to be a little too big, but it's going to be 432. Sorry, my pen is not working. Let me try it with my mouse. There we go. 432 inches squared. Anytime, if you're dealing with a unit squared, in this case, it's inches squared, it is going to be dealing with area. So that means what's inside of here, not the perimeter. Perimeter's outside, area's inside. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at B. It says the length of the rectangle is doubled. Okay, so now we know the length and the width. So this is a different type of question. So the length of the rectangle is doubled. Well, we know that 24 is the length, okay? And if we double 24, we're going to end up with 48, right? So we know that's the length. And it says the length of the rectangle is doubled. What percent of the length is the width? Now, since we're finding out what percent of the length is the width, we're going to put the width up here on top. So I still have the same width, it's 18. And now we're figuring out, hey, if we doubled the length, what percentage would 18 be, right? 18 inches be. 18 inches, and I can even put that in 18 inches over 48 inches. What is that percentage? There's two options you can do here that I think Mr. Kalis and I both talked to you about. So I could either do this in my calculator, okay? I could do 18 divided by 48. And here's what I get when I type this into my calculator. I get 375 thousandths. All right. Now we know that that's not the percentage. That is that's the decimal. So to go from decimal to percentage, we multiply by 100, which really means we just have to move that decimal place twice to the right. So that's going to be 37 and 0.5%. Now, that's one way to do it. Some of us like that method, others don't. So let's go over another way that's similar to what we just worked with. So now we're going to go back to 18 over 48, I believe. And unlike the letter A, we have the initial problem, 18 over 48. We need to figure out the percentage. And we know that percentages are out of 100. So 18 over 48 equals some percentage, some number that's over 100, and we don't know what it is. So we're going to use our cross-multiplying method. I like to do different colors just so we know. So I have 18 times 100 equals 48 times x, which we can just write as 48x. When I do 18 times 100, I can really do 18 times 1, add my two zeros, equals 48x. Now remember, to get rid of multiplication, we do the inverse property, which is division. And we're going to divide by 48 because x is attached to a 48. So to undo that multiply by 48, of course, we need to divide by 48. And what you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other. So that leaves me, I'm going to mark out these 48s because we took care of those. I'm left with x on this side equals, and I'm going to do 1,800 divided by 48. Again, I would recommend using your calculator on this and doing it more than once to make sure you did the right thing. And I got 37 and 0.5%. Since we did it with this method, we automatically get the percentage because we're looking for this number that takes place of the x. So you don't have to move a decimal or anything like that. That's only whenever you use your calculator and first find the decimal. So both ways, we got the same answer, 37 and 0.5%. I would highly, highly recommend practicing using both methods because then you can double check your answer. So I'm pretty confident, since we got this using two different methods, that this would be the correct answer. Lastly, I just want to go over again why we were able to solve this with the is over of on the on letter A. It says the width of the rectangle is 75% of its length. And so we didn't know the is, but we did know the of because it told us the is 75% of its length, and it gave us the length down here. So we knew the of, we just didn't know the is, which is this x here. And then we did it equal to 75 over 100 because it did tell us the percentage, and we know that percentages are per 100. So I hope this helped. I'm going to leave you to explain how you got the answer on the last part of the problem. Let us know if you have any questions.